Shalom and good day all. This is Tehillim29 back again. This video is going to have 3 parts to it in one video. And for the first part, I am going to cover Volume 1 of the Umbrella Academy. By Gerard and Gabriel Barr. I'd like to give a quick thanks to Sergeant Bats and also Ashon Comics, who also reviewed this on this channel, and also a big thanks to those who actually put out the Umbrella Academy series, which I do recommend you do check out. Well, I've read through this, I've read through all of it from beginning to end, and what can I say? There's a lot of things in this that you don't actually get to see in the main series. Take that in note when you do read this. The beginning, middle, and end. This has 6 issues, plus some additional content in the end. I won't spoil it. I'll leave that for you to go and check out. This issue starts around basically the same thing which the series addresses, around the death of basically the boss of the Umbrella Academy students, to which we meet Space Boy, Rumor, of course Vanya, who's totally left out to dry in her own little arc. Then there's the Ago, Kraken, Ben, to which we don't learn a lot about how he dies within the first volume. I am looking forward to going through the second volume. The key character that I did enjoy was actually number 5, but I also liked how Pogo played a part in this, and also how they did the alterations. You learn a little bit about what happened to number 5 in the second issue, which was really good, really informative, but you're only given so much information. There is no sign of Hazel and Cha-Cha in this, so sorry for that little spoiler. That is only in the series. No, I'll be surprised if they do actually show up in the next volume that I'll be reviewing, which is going to be added to this video. You see a lot of things happen within the story, such as some conflicts between some of the students in Umbrella Academy. We do get a hint to their flashback as to how they were birthed onto the scene, and that is covered directly in issue 1. It does leave a question at the end as to what happened to the rest that were born in that day, and how it will be addressed, or when it will be addressed. Alright, this is just some internal art. It's early in the story. and this is around midway-ish. For the cover, I will give it a rating of 9 out of 10, because we do get to see what is actually on this cover happen within the story. The internal art in connection to the story, an 8.5 out of 10. Now, the story itself, did it introduce cast of characters? Yes, indeed. My thoughts on the cast of characters, just for this Volume 1 alone, 7.5 out of 10. Did we get time periods? To be honest, we did. And I appreciate that. So that's a 7 out of 10. Did we get locations? Yes, 7 out of 10. Overall for story, beginning, middle and end, 7.5 out of 10. I want to give a big thanks to Gerard and Gabriel Barr for putting in the effort that was required to get this graphic novel out. Yeah, it might be a bit late for me to review it, but I don't really care right now. But until then, I'll see you soon. Let's keep it colourful. Shalom and G'day from Tehillim 29 as we cover part 2 of the Umbrella Academy review in this 3-in-1 video. This is part 2 of the 3-in-1 video. As in this volume, we cover more of the history around what happened with number 5 in the run, and also some of the things that he's also connected to. We get more history around his character and things that he was involved in, such as playing a part in assassinating a certain figure in time. That too was also covered by the series. We do see the return of Vanya, but she is hospitalized. I won't cover any more on that, so I'll leave you to spoil yourself on that. Of course, we see the rest of the family connected to the Umbrella Academy. Rumor, Kraken, Seance, which is Klaus, Lufa, Spaceboy. And in it we also have the death of a character too. I won't give any spoilers away. But now let's move on to the next thing. Rating for the cover. For the cover, 9 out of 10. Let's move into internal art. For internal art, 7.5 out of 10. As it's consistent, there's not much wrong with it. And as you can also see in this, we do see Hazel and Cha-Cha. Where Hazel and Cha-Cha in the series, one character is male, one character is female. In this one, they're both male. And the way the characters are in this, They remind me of the characters that were seen in one of the James Bond movies. Just in the certain ways they act. It should give you a bit of a hint as to which movie. And you can also see how cruel they can be. Another set example of how cruel they can actually be. So let's move on to the next thing to which this story needs to be rated on. Cast of characters. 7.5 out of 10. Time as to when certain events take place. 7.5 out of 10. At the moment, doing a way better job than Bendis, so that's fantastic. Though there are no comic references in this, there is a bit of a change in the timeline in this story. That's the only thing I'll sort of give away in this. But for the actual story itself, for racing, 7.5 out of 10. Now, within comparison to the series that they brought out on Umbrella Academy, I am actually enjoying this more than the series. I also enjoy the additional information and additional stories that are placed in this that you don't normally see in the series. It's definitely worth picking up. So, next one is Volume 3. See you shortly. Shalom and welcome back to the third part of covering Umbrella Academy. This is the third volume of this series that's covered in this 3-in-1 video. And first off, let's cover with the rating of the cover itself, which is a 10 out of 10. You do actually see this scene, or a scene similar to happen inside the story. This story in itself, it does mention some new locations, as well as a return of Reginald Hargreaves, which I totally didn't expect in this run. We do get times, we also get locations, we get to visit Texas, After Space, if anyone remembers where that is, within the story. We also meet up with some different villains as well as heroes along the journey. Of course, we see Klaus, Allison, Rumor. About the only one we don't get to see is Ben. He has not shown up in this, but it would be nice to see his character turn up within the series. So let's move on to the art. Alright, this is some of the art within the story. Very enjoyable. I'll show you another page from another chapter. for both cover, or for the rating of the cover, a 10 out of 10. For the art inside, an 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to understand the story that's happening inside. Now, rating the story, as I covered before, it does cover locations. About the only thing it doesn't cover is sort of like any comic references, but this story seems to be on its own timeline, a separate timeline from the previous volume. One thing that really stood out in this volume was actually Rumour's and Vanya's interactions in it. We get to see Vanya learning a little bit more about her past because she had lost her memory, and Rumour is actually there to help her regain her memory, and you see a good bonding between those sisters. In it, we also learned that Klaus has a surprise. I'm not going to say what the surprise is. We also see some more happening with Space Boy, Kraken, and of course number 5. And then there was something very interesting that was seen at the end. I do think this story slipped a bit, and that is going to play a part in regards to the rating. So, the rating for the story, a 7.5 out of 10. I could have gone 8, but it did also leave the story on a bit of a cliffhanger. And I'm wondering if that cliffhanger will be addressed in the prequel story to which Gerard Way and Gabrielle Barr had planned for the prequel story that they've got in mind. And hopefully that prequel story will cover more around the character of Reginald Hargreaves. Until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Big thanks to all who follow the channel. I can't do this without you. And remember, let's keep it colourful.